Hello, my name is Lilian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be answering some of the questions you guys asked in my community tab because I put it up a few days ago. I'm telling you guys to ask me any lock related questions. So you guys asked, and in this video, I'm going to be answering all the questions that you guys asked. So let's get into it. I'm going to be looking down because I'll be reading the questions from my phone. The first question I'm going to be answering is from Kimi Jackie Kai. She has a few questions, so I'm going to be answering them one by one. So she says, I started my locks about 6 weeks ago using your method, and although I love many things about them already, I have some questions. Have your locks, especially at the roots, become less likely to tangle with each other as they have matured? With mine, it feels like I have hairs crossing each other all over the place. I ended up having to retwist a lot sooner and tighter than I had planned because after the first wash, they all seemed to marry together. Took hours, had to pop them because I tried to separate without breaking hair, but they were too stuck together. This second wash seemed a little better, but still took a while to separate. I don't remember it being this bad when I had the first set of locks, which I started with 2-strand twists. Her first question is basically if my locks have become less likely to tangle with each other as they have matured. Now, the answer to that question is yes. I feel like now my locks, even though my locks still tangle, to be honest, because if you have small locks, like from over 100, your locks are going to tangle, you know, a lot more than people who have fewer locks. So even up to now, my locks still tangle at the roots, but I feel like it doesn't tangle as much as it used to tangle when I first started my lock journey. And I feel like for everyone, like, it gets easier as your locks get more mature. So even for me too, like when I first started my locks, I planned not to retwist early, you know, but I ended up retwisting for the first time like after, I believe, 5 days, or was it 5 days or maybe 2 weeks? I can't really remember, I'll have to check. But I know that I retwisted like within the first month of starting my locks. And yeah, even though I did not plan to, because I felt like my hair was tangling so much. But I think that it's normal for your locks to tangle a lot when you first start out, because your locks are still there's a lot of loose hairs around, especially if you start with this method. If you start with my method, you're going to experience a lot of marrying and tangling, like a lot, within like the first few months of your lock journey. So yes, that happened to me too. But it definitely gets easier as your locks mature. Like now, my locks don't tangle as much. Like there are times when I'll wash my hair and just like go about my day and come back maybe days later to like separate my roots, and my roots are not usually my roots will not be that bad, you know. Now for my mom's locks are way thicker than mine, and those of you know that I also started her locks with my method. For her, like I separate her hair once in every few months, you know, and even when I do it, it's so easy to do, and that's because her locks are very mature now. She will soon be 3 years locked. So her locks basically, it hardly tangles, right? And she also has very big locks. She has 24 locks, you know. So the smaller your locks, the more they are going to tangle, but it definitely gets easier as your locks get more mature. Her next question: are your locks or your mom's locks solid or springy or spongy? It might sound strange, but I ask because mine are currently springy, which I quite like, and I'm hoping if I retwist the way you do, they might be less solid than my previous locks, which I retwist in the more conventional way, at least for the first few years. Yes, like my locks, I am about 14, I'll soon be 15 months locks, right? At this point, my locks are spongy. Like my locks, they are firm, but they are not like hard. Like the length of my locks that are already locked, they feel almost like my roots. Like they feel almost like a group of firm loose hair. I don't know if that makes sense. So my locks actually feel really spongy, and they look spongy. Like I feel like my locks feel like they look you know, so my locks actually feel spongy. But my mom's locks are hard at this point. Like my mom's locks are hard, but like throughout her lock journey, her hair is always like in maybe a bun, in a ponytail, like it's always packed somewhere. So I feel like her hair is a little bit more compact than mine. My hair, my locks, I leave my locks loose 99% of the time, you know. So I don't think, and also because my locks are small, You know, I don't think my locks would be as hard as hers, but her locks are pretty solid. My mom's locks are solid at this point, and her locks have been solid for a while my locks are like really spongy and like springy. And I feel like it also depends on how you maintain your locks, right, and things you do to your locks. Like for me, I water my locks very often. My hair is always like really frizzy. I hardly put my hair in a bun, in a ponytail. Like there was a period in my mom's lock journey where she hated her shrinkage so much, so she would always band her locks. She just stopped doing that recently because now she has gotten some length, you know, so now she only just puts her hair like in a loose ponytail. But back when, before now, like she probably stopped doing that maybe like about like 6 months ago or so, you know, back when her locks were still like really showing the shrinkage and all. She would always like band her hair, and I used to tell her, stop banding your hair, like you're going to stop your hair from being as thick as they should be. But she would band her hair. So I feel like my mom's locks are more compact because she, you know, bands her hair. She used to band her hair and she used to band her locks, right? But me, my locks are loose, and now my locks are like pretty spongy. I don't know if they are going to get more solid in the future, right? But they are spongy. They are firm, but they are kind of spongy. So yeah, that answers her question. Our next question is from Zen. So she says, he or she says, I don't know whether it's male or female, but how long does it take for your length to actually show? I started my locks with 2-strand twist, and my hair was about 20 centimeters long when I stretched it, but my length has halved since locking it. When will it start looking like I have long length? I can totally relate to you, Zen. Like those of you that knew me when I had this natural hair, like people keep asking me, even when I put up this question, like asking you guys to send me questions, people still asked if I actually cut my hair, you know. So for people who knew me when I had this natural hair, many people that just see me, like they think I cut my hair because my hair shrunk up, and I feel like shrinkage is inevitable. Shrinkage is something is something that will happen, and it can be very annoying. It can be so annoying. How long will it take for your hair to go back to the length that you started with? Like how long will it take for your locks to become the length that you started with, like with your loose natural hair stretched? It's probably going to take up to 2 years, to be honest. Before your hair will go back to the length that you started with your loose natural hair stretched, it will probably take about 2 years. So yeah, there's that. But don't lose hope. I feel like you should just kind of like accept the shrinkage and like just embrace it, because like that's the only way that you're going to like have a fulfilling journey. Because the shrinkage comes, and it comes for many people, it comes really bad. You can have like bra strap length of hair, and then when the shrinkage hits, like your hair can be like ear length, you know. And that's very common for many people, especially for people who have like 4C, 4B, 4C, type 4 hair. Like your hair can shrink a lot. So it's part of the journey. There isn't much you can do about it, to be honest. But yeah, it's probably take about, like now, even though my locks are starting to show a little bit of length, right, but my locks are not yet the length of my loose natural hair when it was stretched. Like I never really stretched my loose natural hair, so I never really knew my true length stretched, like blow dried and like straightened, right? But like when I'll put my hair in like braids or like twists or like cornrows and stuff, like my locks now have not even gotten to that length, and I'm 15 months locked. You know. But to be fair, I feel like my locks now have gotten to the length of how my loose natural hair was shrunken. Like if I did like a braid out or something, I feel like my loose natural hair, when I did like a shrunken braid out, not like stretch with anything, like just regular, put my hair in braids and unravel the braids, I feel like my locks have gotten to that length now, you know. So it's probably take about a year for your hair to go from shrunken, for your locks to go from the length that it is when it's shrunken to the length of your loose natural hair when it was like shrunken, not like stretched. But for your locks to get to that length of stretched loose natural hair, it will probably take about 2 years or more. So yeah, that's about that. Our next question is from Chronic Fatigue Hermit Hiker. Now, he says this shot shows something that concerns me about fuzzy locks. The loose strands coil up along the cord and can look raggedy, but it looks good on yours, but not on my fine strands. I plan to see if brushing changes anything, or does it correct itself in time. Mine looks a crazy mess right now at 7 months. What you're talking about is frizz. Right now, frizz can look different for different people. I feel like for those of us who have kinky coily type 4 hair, our frizz is not like straight. For people who have like looser coils and like straight hair, their frizz is like spiky and straight, or like big coils and stuff, and it looks more straight. But for those of us who have like type 4 hair, our frizz is tightly coiled too, and I feel like that's what this person is talking about. That's what we call frizz, and we have them. You have them in the beginning stage of your lock journey, but I feel like the more your locks mature, the less your frizz. And at this point, I feel like my hair is no longer as frizzy as it used to be. Like if I pick a lock now to show you guys, let me pick. You guys can see I still have some frizz, right, but it's not as much as it used to be. So yes, it will sort itself out after a while. Like the frizz will not be there forever. A time will come when the frizz will find its way back into the lock, and your locks will be more like seamless and more uniform. Like my mom had all those things too, but like now at almost 3 years locked, like she has almost no frizz. She only has frizz at the roots, like the new growth and all, but like for the length of her locks that are locked, like she basically has no frizz, you know. So that will sort itself out. But you can brush your locks if you want. You can brush your locks, but I would not really recommend you brushing your locks at 7 months, just because I feel like at 7 months your locks are not really formed yet. So if you brush your locks, you may end up like snagging strands of hair that should eventually form the locks and make the locks thicker. So I think you should just be patient and just wait. Like the frizz, those coils that you talk about will not be there forever. They will eventually go away. And what can help is like if you loosely like take some of the coils, just a few of the strands, and just like loosely wrap it around the lock, that can help to make it look nicer. You know, that can help like kind of like reduce the coils and all, because when you wrap it out around, loosely wrapped around, it kind of like hides some of the coils and like it just helps it to, you know, integrate itself back into the lock. So you can do that. But yeah, brushing helps. Like it gets to a point where your locks have gotten mature, brushing can help to smooth out those coils and reduce, you know, the frizz and stuff like that. But at 7 months, I would not really recommend you brushing your locks yet. Our next question is from Mimi Bangura. She asks, her question is, what is your lock length goal? To be honest, I don't really have a lock length goal. Now let me be honest with you guys. Now when I started my locks, obviously my hair shrunk up a lot, right, and it got very short, and I kind of like, I liked the length of my hair when it shrunk up. I had this cute tapered cut kind of look. Like my hair was like above, it was kind of like ear length, like the back of my hair was kind of like ear length and stuff, and my bangs were kind of higher. You know, they were not like this look, my bangs were kind of high, and I liked that look. Now my locks are getting longer, my bangs are getting lower, and they are almost kind of like covering my eyes already. And even though I know for many people this is something that they are going to be excited about, but for me I have mixed feelings. I'm kind of excited that my locks are getting longer because obviously everyone wants our hair to get longer, but I kind of like miss my hair at that short length where like I had this cute tapered cut. Now my hair is getting longer and I am wearing like collar shirts, so some of my hair is at the back. But if I wasn't wearing that, like my hair is starting to get, you know, down here. But about a few months ago, like my locks were, you know, kind of like almost like my ear length, so it's up here. Now it's kind of like coming, almost getting to my collarbone a little bit. You guys can see. So I have mixed feelings about that because I kind of feel like my hair looks a lot cuter when it was higher. So I feel like now my locks are starting to drop and I'm excited, but part of me is feeling like so yeah, I say all that to say that I don't really have a length goal. I'm just like moving with the flow and kind of like just enjoying each phase that comes, right? I really enjoyed that short lock phase, so now it's taking a while for me to get used to like this length of my locks kind of like dropping, because sometimes I feel like what's going on, I don't know what's happening. What's happening, but yeah. But the thing is, I'm also excited to see like how long my locks can go. I don't think I would like let my locks get longer than like my like tailbone above my butt length, you know, because when it gets longer than that, I just feel like it's just going to be getting in the way of everything, and I feel like that would be uncomfortable for me, you know. So when it starts to get long, when it starts to get longer than that, I feel like I'm just going to keep cutting it just to maintain at that length, or even shorter, you know. I kind of feel like when my locks get long, I may decide to cut it like into like a bob or something, but till then, right? But for now, I don't really have a length goal. I'm just moving with the flow and enjoy. I'm trying to enjoy each phase that comes. Yeah, that's it. Next question is from Sharon Aderinola. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So she asks how to wash starter locks without much unraveling. So let me answer that first. Because she has some other questions here. So let me answer that first. Washing starter locks without much unraveling. Yeah, I'm happy that she said much unraveling. I'm happy that you Sharon, I'm happy that you said much unraveling, because to an extent you really cannot prevent unraveling when it comes to starter lock. Like, your locks are supposed to unravel a little bit for your locks to swell up and form and things like that. So unraveling to an extent is normal and it's fine. But if you are starting out with very short hair, with hair that is like shorter than 4 inches of hair, you're going to have like bigger issue with unraveling. Your locks may unravel to the point that like your starter style comes completely undone. And I feel like that isn't really a problem, because unraveling is part of the journey, it's part of the locking process. So I feel like when your starter locks unravel, yeah, let me first address how to reduce much unraveling with starter locks when you're washing. You just have to be careful when you're washing your starter locks. So what that means is, don't be too rough. Kind of like when you're washing, try to kind of like maybe hold on to, if your locks are long enough for you to like hold on to the ends, and while you scrub your scalp, you know. Some people use like a sock cap, I believe that's what it's called. Like they basically use something like a hairnet to cover their hair and wash, because that, they feel like that kind of reduces how much their starter style unravels, right? So you can give that a try. But personally, like when I wash starter locks, what I basically do is I'm just a little bit more careful, you know. So I try to focus on the scalp, and for the like length of the locks, I try to be gentle and like basically do more of a squeezing. I don't really do that washing technique on starter locks, because I feel like at that point your hair is still pretty soft. Your hair is not locked yet. So by just washing your hair the way you normally wash your loose natural hair can work, right? It's fine. But as your locks get more mature, when you approach like the 6-month mark, where your locks are now more secure, you're no longer experiencing that much unraveling, yes, you can start to do more thorough kind of washing. But at that early stage, just wash carefully, wash gently, kind of like how you wash your loose natural hair, and try not to undo the ends, because I feel like when the ends are intact or somehow connected, you don't have a problem, because when your ends are kind of like bound, your shed hairs don't really fall out, and so no matter how much unraveling you have within the length of your hair is still going to be doing what it needs to do to lock. So as long as the ends are not like do not come undone, as long as the ends remain bound, you're fine. So just try to make sure that the ends remain bound even as you're washing your starter locks. Now, unraveling is completely inevitable, especially if you're washing short starter locks. Now, for that case, after you have washed your hair, what you can do is, you have some unraveling, you have stray hairs all over the place. So what you want to do is just loosely take some of those stray strands and just loosely wrap it around the lock. You don't have to do anything tight. You don't have to undo whatever style that you have done just to redo it again. You don't have to do that, because when you undo just to redo it again, you have just taken yourself like some steps back, because that roughness that you're seeing that somehow has unraveled is part of the locking process. So what you want to do is, you leave that roughness that you can see. So let's say you have like, maybe you started with 2-strand twist, right? And then somehow it's like the twists have loosened a little bit, you know, but the ends are still like bound. You don't have to completely undo all the twists just to redo it again. All you need to do is just take some of the loose strands that you have fly away strands all over the place. Just loosely take some of the loose strands and just loosely wrap it around those two sections of the twins that have kind of like unraveled. Just loosely wrap the loose strands around. If you continue to do that over time, your hair will stop unraveling and your locks will already be in the process of forming. So I feel like that's what you can do to tackle unraveling with starter locks, especially like when you're washing. Now let's move on to her next question. How to retwist starter locks and maintain retwists. Well, with starter locks, you basically retwist however you would normally retwist your hair, right? Now, for many people, when they retwist starter locks, they kind of like retwist down to the length of the locks because they feel like the locks, your starter locks have not formed yet, so they need to be trained. You can do that if that's what you're into, but personally, I feel like you don't really have to every time retwist down to the length of the twist, especially if you're trying to achieve maximum thickness. If you don't mind, if all you care about is having uniform locks, then you can do that. But if somewhere along the line you want your locks to be thicker, you want your locks to be as thick as possible, then I don't really recommend you like retwisting down to the length of the starter locks. All you need to do is just retwist the roots, just retwist the base, just like people who have more mature locks do, right? Now, with starter locks, I feel like with starter locks, it's almost like mature locks when it comes to retwisting in a way, because retwists do not last. Retwists do not last. Now, the thing, what you can do to make your retwist last longer is just to stay away from water longer, because as soon as you wet your hair or as soon as you wash your hair, your retwist will come undone. Like, there's really no way to go about it. So you have to pick what's more important to you. Is moisturizing your locks more important to you than maintaining a retwist, for a long period of time? If the retwist is more important to you, then you want to kind of like hold on to your retwist and like just try to stay away from like wet, like drenching your hair in water or washing your hair like for as long as you can basically, so that your retwist can last longer. Another thing you can do is putting your hair in a style. Like when you retwist your hair, when you put your hair in a style, that also helps your retwist to last longer. But I don't really recommend that, because I feel like at that starter lock phase, if you want your locks to be as thick as possible, you need to just let your locks loose and let it form how it wants to form. That's what will give you the thickest result. So I feel like at that starter lock phase, just the best advice I can give to you, to be honest, and I know that this may be hard for many people, and I understand, is just let your hair be. Let it look rough. Let it look scruffy. Many people think it looks rough and it looks scruffy. At that starter lock phase, that's the best thing you can do for your locks, because the roughness and the scruffiness of your hair is basically your hair trying to form locks, right? So that's a process that your hair needs to go through for you to eventually get the thick, healthy locks that you desire. So just let it be. Just let it be. Don't be too focused on trying to make your retwist last longer. The purpose of it, you should have it at the back of your mind that you're retwisting your hair just to keep your hair from merging, to keep your locks separated. That's the most important thing that you should be concerned about when you are retwisting your hair. You really don't need your retwist to last too long, because when your retwist starts to last too long, that will eventually hinder how thick your locks can get. Okay, she has another question, sorry. Should I interlock my starter locks? It is 5 months. I'm struggling because I started with coil method and it keeps unraveling. I remember when you started, I was mad at you because you were helping me with my natural hair, and now you changed. Months later, I started mine and I'm loving it. Thank you. You also helped me so much. I don't think you understand, with my skin, hair, confidence, self-love, and self-appreciation. Thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet. When I get all these kind of messages, like all this kind of feedback from you guys, it makes me very happy, because that is why I'm here, to help you guys. So thank you, Sharon. So yeah, let me go ahead and answer your last question. You can interlock your starter locks. Like, I feel like at 5 months, like, it's fine. If you want to interlock, you can interlock your starter locks. But just know that generally, when you maintain your locks with the interlocking method, it kind of like reduces how thick your locks can get, right? So interlocking is interlocking lasts longer. Like, I know that you are concerned because from what you said, you started with comb coils and you're experiencing a lot of unraveling, and that's completely normal when you start with comb coils. Like when you start with coils unravel a lot, so it's normal for most people. So you may feel that, yeah, interlocking is going to help you. It's going to help your hair stay more secure and like kind of prevent most of the issues that you've been complaining about. So yeah, that's it. Interlocking can actually work, and I feel like at 5 months it's fine. You can go ahead and interlock, but just know that if you choose to go the interlocking route, interlocking generally makes your locks a little bit smaller than if you maintain with like retwisting, you know, because interlocking is more tight, so it doesn't give your locks room to kind of like swell as much. But that doesn't mean that interlocking will make your locks not be healthy. Like your locks are still going to be healthy. And I've actually seen, like, depending on how you do it, I've seen people who interlock who have thicker locks than people who retwist, just because they interlock but they do it not so tight. You know, they do it loosely and they do it sparingly, whilst those other people who retwist are doing it like every single week. You know, so it also depends on the frequency and how you're doing it. So you can go ahead and interlock your hair if you feel like that is going to give you more peace of mind, and that's going to make you more comfortable with your hair. You can go ahead and interlock, and at 5 months I feel like it's fine. Just make sure that you don't do it too tight, and especially, you know, tight at the root. Just make sure you don't do it too tight, and you kind of like give your hair some time between interlocking sessions for your hair to grow before you go ahead and interlock again. And next question is from Nikki J. You might have stated this in a previous video. How many locks do you have? Yes, I've actually stated this in a video. I have a lock count video where I counted my locks, and in that video I counted 178 locks, and I actually had 178 locks. But now the number has changed. I no longer will have 178 locks, and I have 179 locks, and that's because I split a lock at the back. I shared it on my community tab like a few months ago. I think I did that last year. So the lock was uncomfortable because like the shape of the part was rectangular and weird. So when I would bend my head, it was just uncomfortable. So I tried to split it, because the funny thing is those locks were two before, but about like a month into my lock journey, I felt like they were too skinny. So I went ahead to combine them. So now, like, how many months? I feel like over like about a year into my lock journey, like about maybe 10 months into my lock journey, I felt like it was now uncomfortable, the fact that I combined those two. So I went ahead to split. So I now have a small lock down here. This is it. I cut the loose hair out of and the other lock. So I cut that hair out of this lock, you know. So I now have a small baby lock here. So I now have 179 locks. I'm going to give you guys a better view of this in my next video, because in my next video I'm going to be giving you guys my lock tour. That I'll basically be showing you guys my locks. Like, you guys will get to see every single lock I have on my head. So for those of you that have been asking different questions, like, yeah, that's true. I have one other question. Yeah, I have some questions on Instagram. Let me go ahead and answer those Instagram questions. Did you really cut your hair? This is from Yeti.fo. No, I did not cut my hair, and I feel like I get this question a lot on Instagram. People always ask me if I cut my hair. Those people that knew me when I had loose natural. No, I did not cut my hair. My hair just shrunk to what it is now, and this is part of the locking process. Like, if you lock your hair is going to shrink, especially if you let it shrink. Although the amount of shrinkage will vary from person to person, but when I had loose natural hair, I had a lot of shrinkage. So it's only normal that I will have a lot of shrinkage when I lock my hair. So yeah, yes, that's why my hair is so short. I did not cut my hair. Like, I did not cut my hair at all. My hair just shrunk up to what it is now. This is from Amma Braze. She says, I don't have a question, but thank you for your time that you use in making us love our hair. Aww. This is from Amma_braids. Oh, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm happy. I love what I do, and getting all this feedback from you guys makes me very happy. So thank you. Yeah, I remember someone asking me if all my locks are of the same size. Yes. Yeah, our next question is from OZ_locks. So she asks, are your locks same size? No, my locks are not the same size. I have different sizes of locks on my head. Like, I have some very big locks, I have some very skinny locks. So no, all my locks are not of the same size. Someone also asked, do I have clean knee pads? But I think it was on YouTube, but I can't find the question anymore. But I remember someone asking me if like if I have clean parts. No, I don't have like crispy clean parts. Like, I did not have a particular pattern system when I started my locks. I just use my fingers to part my hair and locked, you know. So I did not like use a rattle comb or anything like that. So in some areas you may see some crispy clean parts, and that's because before I started my locks I wore cornrows, right? And I parted my cornrows with a rattle comb, and I did not comb my hair. Like I did not go ahead and like comb my hair before I went to lock my hair. So in some areas you may see some really sharp crispy clean parts from those random places where, you know, the cornrow parts showed, right? So you may see that, but no, I did not part my hair with rattle comb. Like I don't have like crispy clean parts. Like my parts are just like scattered all over the place. Yeah. So with that, we've come to the end of this video, and I hope I answered all the questions, because I had questions scattered all over. Some people sent me private questions in my DMs and stuff, but I hope I was able to cover like all the questions that I got. If you still have any questions that you want me to address, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I may make a part 2 of this video, or I may just go ahead and answer your questions immediately, like in the comments. So go ahead and drop your questions if you have any more down in the comment section. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if this is your first time on my channel, or this is not your first time but you have been on my channel but you're not subscribed, then please go ahead and subscribe. I make videos about locks all the time, you know, so you may go ahead and just subscribe, because I know that you're going to find my content helpful. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.